welcome back to a brand new episode of Trash Talk. I'm here with a very, very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Beckett, and I'm part of Cope and Seethe.
Well, yeah, and diving straight into it, with these episodes that are maybe a bit more chilled, I like to start right back at the beginning, right? How did you get involved in content creation?
Oh, fucking hell. Okay. So there's like pretty well-known lore of this. I've been kicking around the internet, like lurking forever, basically.
Mhm.
But after I graduated, I kind of left the internet and fucked off, focused on my job and stuff.
Yeah.
And then a few years ago, my mum passed away, and
Sorry to hear that, man.
it's fine. You didn't do it. And then I came back to the internet basically for something to do, and kind of thought, fuck it. I've always listened to people make videos, talk about shit. I'll give that a shot, and ended up in Twitch politics for a while.
How was that, man?
How was Twitch politics?
Yeah, bro.
I was fucking shit, mate.
Did you win?
No one wins. Twitch politics is fucking awful, bro. It really is. It's so my master's degree is actually in counterterrorism. So when I came back to the internet, I was like, yeah, we can talk about counterterrorism. I can talk about politics. It'll be interesting. And man, it is just a load of people with no qualifications citing academic articles they don't really understand, calling anyone who disagrees with them a Nazi, and it's really shit. Really, like, I had a fucking moment where I was watching somebody have a debate on stochastic terrorism, and I made it 15 minutes into this, and then I went, I'm never debating this topic ever again. I'm never going on any of these panels to debate it again. I was like,
that's fucking rough.
done. I was like, this is just so cancerously stupid. So like, yeah, yeah.
I mean, it sounds great, man. I'm just saying, from how you described it, I don't know why you're still not doing it, man. Are we still doing it, right? That sounds great. But like, how do you go from that to like getting involved in like commentary stuff?
So even though I was kind of like in the Twitch poly scene, a lot of my content was talking about like obscure locales and drama and random shit like that. Like it's really interesting with the Artcom stuff, because I think one of the very first things I ever streamed about was a guy called Toon Critic.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of the obscure brony lore. So it was kind of like a natural progression. And then as Twitch politics was kind of dying at the beginning of the year, there were a couple of dramas that we can go into. But largely it was Zylie Gets Real and Matt Pitt just kind of went, you know, Beckett, you probably should just come over to commentary, and we'll pull you in to that space. I started doing a lot of work with Now Recording. And we'd already set up Cope and Seethe as a channel. Like our first video essay was going after Demon Mama.
Right.
So I just said, fuck it, started streaming over on YouTube, probably like February-ish of this year. And yeah, the channel's just sort of grown since then.
Well, man, you had like a really good introduction to the commentary, man. You had like it on a silver play, right? Now Recording, Zylie, all these people really getting into the flow of things pretty quickly as well. And man, right? I don't know how old you are, right? But that makes me feel older, right? That you've only just started, like properly getting into things, right? Especially within commentary. The beginning of this year, man. Because I've been doing like commentary stuff since 2016. In some way, shape, or form. So seeing how like the community's changed over time, it's definitely over like the past year or so, like gone towards more live stream commentary and podcasts and stuff like that. So how do you like distinguish yourself from, like, you brought up Now Recording and all these other streamers like Nicholas Jorio, Bo Blacks when he was streaming and stuff like that? How do you distinguish yourself to make yourself unique from all these content creators?
I think there's a couple of things. So I almost never react. I almost never do actual react content. Like you won't catch me like watching a video essay unless it's like, I don't know, content that someone's paid me to watch or something.
Sure.
Everything I do is basically raw. Most of my streams are quite planned out. I kind of know what I'm hitting. And I describe what I do as like well-researched shit posting. actually some of the most successful things we've done have been just shit posts. Like, do you remember the James Summerton thing where he was caught with plagiarizing people's work and had to apologize for that? Okay, so our James Summerton video is 43 minutes long, and it's me reading out his apology transcript. That's the whole video. It's just there's a couple of jokes thrown in. But I was like, wouldn't it be really funny just to plagiarize his apology for plagiarism? It's shit like that. And then, same with like Twitter versus Boblax. We were the first channel to do one of those. And I just did a Twitter versus Boblax because no one else did it. And yeah, I think shit posting, like high effort shit posting, is very, very funny. And not enough people do it anymore because it's sort of low returns for quite a bit of work.
Well, see, it's all about, especially like now as well, within like commentary, it's about like distinguishing yourself, right? Making sure that you stand out in the crowd, because there are so many commentators, right? From like the slop type ones, the live streaming commentary, like the essayists, right? And it can also like get a bit blurred, right, between the lines and stuff. So there are a lot of content creators doing their own thing within commentary, right? So you've always got to try and stand out, make sure that if you're covering a topic that is popular, like Boblax, right, that it stands out. So doing it in a funny, ironic way like that, stands out. People will follow suit.
Speaking of which, just to like put it out there for like the Boblax Twitter versus, how much effort did that really like take you just to make like one of those videos?
Like nothing. Like, okay, they are incredibly boring and frustrating to make. Like, I wouldn't. That's why I didn't carry on doing them.
No, for sure.
But like, I think I could bang out a Twitter versus from start to finish, including gathering all the tweets in a couple of hours. It's really not. Difficult. It's pretty fucking easy. It's like, it's complete cash cow. I have no idea. I've got no idea how Boblax fucked this up.
Yeah, I mean, if you're making like thousands of dollars from it, would you like even care? Like,
well, I mean, I think a lot of people want to be more. That's the thing. A lot of people attach their egos to content creation because, there's a lot of content creators they've never done anything else. They've never had successes in other areas of their lives, and kind of being respected online or thought well of online is like the thing they want. That's what's going to bring them joy. I don't really have that problem. I don't really care that much.
Fair enough.
And yeah, I just want to make cool stuff and make people laugh. That's it. That's like the baseline, pretty much.
Well, yeah, like people have different goals, right? Like I know Amos, right? Good friend of TrashTalk, right? Fucking Amos, for example, his goal is money, right? Is to do well, make money, earn a living, whatever, right? Some people's goal is getting to that 100,000 like subscriber play button. Some people's goal, like you, is to entertain and make content that you enjoy making and having some fun, right? And then you've got people that like this is what they want to do just throughout their life, right? They want to make this a job, they want to make this, their career. And it always comes like down to that. And like some people are always gonna have way more pride in what they post or slot commentary stuff. And like neither is like a bad way to do things, right? It just comes down to your personal preference and what you want to do, right? So like if you want to make slop, make slop. If you want to like do what you're doing, do what you're doing.
I don't think there's any problem with slop content. I keep seeing a lot of posts about like, oh, slop content's bad. It's content. Like, I don't want to make that kind of stuff, but also based. I think it's great if you want to put like opinions out there. It's kind of like criticizing people for making like inane tweets. It's like whatever. Just if people are getting that bag, clearly there's an audience for this stuff. Fucking go for it. Not everything needs to be a high effort video essay.
Oh, definitely.
Not everything needs to be a documentary.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like there's like a lot of lazy arguments for like content slop. I don't mind slop a lot, like, but then there's like certain things where it's like serious cases. I'll use an example, one that's not really talked about much. Say, take Sense of Society, for example, right? He made a video covering the Yandere Dev allegations, but he only covered like his response video with no other context and kind of just like saw him as, this guy could just be innocent. And there was like one screenshot that was really bad where he's asking for like this 35-year-old man's asking for nudes from a 16-year-old. But like Sense of Society didn't know that because he only just reacted to, his his response video. And I feel like that when it comes to like slop stuff, like some people just like see it trending and just only grab a little bits of the story and just don't grab everything, which could be harmful and spread a very bad narrative about the situation.
Well, that was Derek's argument, right? And I think it comes down to the fact of slop content is completely fine. You've just got to make sure that you get all the facts right? You have your research there. Like, I would much rather watch like some like 10-minute commentary shitter with like barely any editing apart from some gameplay, going through the facts and stuff of the situation, going over the new stuff. As long as he's getting everything right, compared to like a 40-minute heavily edited like Sunny V2 style video essay.
Yeah, for
I'd much
sure.
rather like quick short like that. So as long as they're getting all the information right or covering what needs to be covered properly and getting all their facts right, I don't have an issue. And I think it also comes back to like I think that I bring up, right, since I do it on a few of my channels, is YouTube Shorts, right?
Yeah.
Like especially like last year and a couple of years ago, there was such a big stigma around it, and I don't really see that anymore because I think it's sort of become more normalized. But people hated it because it was like easier content, right? Like people hated TikTok and stuff like that because it's easier content. And I don't know. I think people hating like on different genres of content because it's maybe a bit like less effort than the stuff you're doing, or a bit more high effort than what you're doing. I don't know. I think people should just do what they want and have fun.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah. Ultimately, like, you can make a lot of money off online creation, and if that's your goal, like, fucking have at it, because people have turned this into a job. Like, I remember what this was like in 2013, 2014, where people were only just starting to really find ways to monetize, and it's a very different world and ecosystem now. And yeah, if people are happy to give money to that, if you're making your bag based, yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
That's kind of very much my view.
I think a lot of commentators just kind of get wrapped up in it, right? Like a little bit of an obsession about what other people are making, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what other people do. It's like, if you're happy with the work you're putting out and you're enjoying it and you're making enough, if that's your goal to get by, like, yeah, why would you care what other people are doing to an extent? If I get the arguments with misinfo, and obviously, like, I've been pretty involved in the MrBeast stuff. And the shit dog packs put out has been fucking wild. So like, I think when people are doing it badly and it's hitting the rest of the commentary sphere, or you're dealing with, like, I'll level with you. The biggest problem with dog pack from a lot of people's perspectives is actually the audience.
Yeah,
because it's just fucking annoying. I mean, that's like the core basis of it. It's annoying to have retards scream at you, being like, "Oh my god, you are like paid opposition. Why do you love MrBeast so much?" I was like, I don't fucking care. Why are you guys so angry? Why have you pinned your personalities on this? Like, what the fuck is going on? What's wrong with you?
It is strange because it is like that whole opinion of like criticize MrBeast and Chris Tyson for everything, even if they haven't done necessarily something wrong there, right? But as soon as you criticize somebody who's criticizing them, right? Oh, you love MrBeast, right? Why are you criticizing them? Like, they don't see that it's fair, and that's definitely been pushed on by the fact that Weddle, fucking CamNuggets, fucking all these motherfuckers, right, have gone out and defended like Dogpack and all these people and every single thing they've done. And gone against MrBeast on every single thing he's done, including the stuff that isn't necessarily bad and the misinformation. And it's created this weird stigma around it. So when people do get their comeuppance, like CamNuggets, Weddle, Dogpack, Rosanna, it's kind of satisfying because they've created such a weird stigma around that situation. A situation that until like, especially Dogpack put out a bunch of fucking misinformation was a pretty easy situation to navigate and to tell somebody about.
Oh
yeah.
And like, what's like really annoying, like back with like the Jake Warren stuff, a lot of people like defended Dogpack by saying like, but he said allegedly, and like that's such an annoying argument because
we spent like 12 hours going through court records to disprove that. We spoke to actual lawyers about this. And I think one of the big things is, like, obviously Jenny does the research for the channel, and she is like phenomenal. But I think we've tried to sort of set a higher standard for that than a lot of small channels, where it's like, I just heard this thing. It's like, we won't run rumors as anything other than rumors, and we'll be very, very clear about them, and we'll never run anything serious that's a rumor. Like, unless we're fairly sure. And I mean, that should be the standard. It's just, not for lack of a better phrase.
Yeah, I mean, I play it like really safe, that like if I heard a rumor about someone, like just to play it extremely safe, if I can't back it up, I'm not including it, because it's like it could potentially muddy waters if you don't have anything to back it up.
Well, one of
Well,
the big ones as well is people do this thing where they go, "I have a nuke. I have guys. You won't believe this. It is the hottest thing. It is gonna change the fucking face of the internet."
Gonna
And then
set
they get
waves in the community.
and then they get on a stream when they put out a video and they were like, in 1962, this
Yeah.
man stole a hot dog, and you're like, wow, you should kill yourself. You have like completely fucked this. And the problem is, like, people do this stuff with stories where they're desperate to be the center of it. They're desperate to be like, this is the biggest thing ever. And you know, it's like we did the jar video, and I have got quite a few comments on the jar video of, you know, you say you don't care about this racism stuff, so why did you include it? Why did you include it in your hit piece? And I was like, because the jar video is not a hit piece. You're all just so used to everything being a hit piece that you assume.
Yeah.
It's not. It is literally just a video going over all of Jar's old allegations, so they're in one place. I say this in the video, but like audiences generally, and this isn't an annoyance on my part. It's just like, I knew this would happen. But audiences generally are kind of like primed to take any new bit of information as either like the biggest thing ever or some sort of nuke, or and this is bad for stories, because generally speaking it means you can't bring out the small stuff that builds like evidence against people, which is a lot of dog pack shit is smaller stuff, frankly, that like is meant to build towards MrBeast. But because everything is presented as this is going to send MrBeast to prison, he basically war crimed somebody, guys. He's basically Hitler. Like, and now everyone's sort of hit this point where they're like, do you know what? Unless MrBeast is actually like, I don't know, like, there's a secret video which he made for himself, which he watches later at night, which is like MrBeast like sets up the rape of 50 minors.
Yeah.
I kind of don't fucking care anymore. Like, I just don't fucking care. Like, give me something like insane or shut up. That's where I'm at.
Well, see, that's why like a few months ago, when the whole Imallexx stuff happened, like I was the first person to make a video, to make tweets and stuff about it. Before like Alice's document dropped, because it was on TikTok, right? And like with that, I wanted to be really careful with how I was coming across, present it in the way of what it was, right? That she had made a few claims and stuff in TikToks and in comments and stuff, and present what was actually going on at the time, right? Because it's so bad with how Dogpack's presenting stuff, how CamNuggets and all these people that are going out like MrBeast constantly are presenting stuff to make something seem like the most damning thing ever, when realistically,
how many times can we put "it's done" in a title?
Oh,
it's
yeah,
over.
exactly, right,
This is the end. I'm like, Logan Paul filmed dead people in a forest. Like, do you think this is gonna end him? Come on, guys,
and
fuck off.
There is something about like hearing Dogpack saying, "Oh, there's a fucking MrBeast left a bit of a boat in a river," right? Compared to like, "Oh yeah, Chris Tyson might allegedly have CP." Like, there are levels to it, right?
Yeah.
Like, and people don't get that, right? And like the way that the information was put out there as well completely muddied the waters. And that's something that I think any commentator, or just any person in general with any kind of self-respect or respect for the situation they're covering, doesn't want to do, right? They want to put it out in a way that makes sense. Don't want to jump to conclusions. Make sure that, you know, the audience knows this is what we know so far. Like, this is what's going on, right? Like, and make sure that it's known, instead of Dogpack, you know, just throwing the word like, "Oh yeah, this is CP," in Rosanna's video, and then going, "What? I did say allegedly that one time right at the beginning of the video."
Yeah.
And because of them, they've muddied the waters with this whole MrBeast situation really, really, really bad.
Yeah, it's difficult as well, because like when I was doing like smaller content with Twitch politics and things, I wasn't like, I don't expect anyone to read my fucking tweets. I'll level with you. So when we started to do Cope and Seethe, we had teething, especially with the stuff we tweeted out. So there were a couple like interesting examples for this, but the first one was we pointed out that Alice had cropped pictures in the Imallexx document where she named for him for a while was racist N-word.
Yeah.
Which was fucking hilarious. And we tweeted this out and then got accused of attacking Alice, trying to paint her as a racist. And I was like, well, we're not trying to do that. I don't fucking care. But we got like tons of fucking shit for that. And I was like, oh, that's because I looked at it, and rather than going, oh, you people are idiots, I went, okay, it's because we didn't call her based. We should have called her based, because then we would have signaled. It's like all in the flags. And the same was true of the Shadman list. Like, the Shadman list was there to show like how fucking integrated he was in the community. and with commentary and with internet culture generally, because I think largely at the time most people had forgotten that. I think most people still have. But we intermingled that message with the fact that some of these people, you know, probably should answer a couple of questions as to why, I don't know, Elvis the Alien is still talking to Shadman post 2016. It's like shit like that.
Yeah.
But you learn from those things, and rather than I never got like, I didn't get defensive about this. I answered questions on it. I had private conversations with a couple of content creators who I'm friends with, and I was like, yeah, okay, cool. Well, this bit was wrong. We just haven't done it again. You know, that's how you learn and you grow. The problem, you know, the problem with people like Dogpack, CamNuggets, everyone else is they go, oh, I understand where your criticism is coming from, but I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to do it worse. And it's like, right, okay, bro, shut the fuck up, please. Like,
yeah, I mean, and even with CamNuggets, it goes so far to say, like, when he came on the podcast, and I'm saying, like, oh yeah, can you understand where people are coming from? It's like, yeah, but I don't care because they've done this to me. It's like, yeah, but that's not how that works, right? Like, you know, everyone fucks up, right? That's just a natural thing, right? And I recently made a video on like Dogpack and Rosanna. And one of my points is the fact that, you know, everyone messes up, but then it's about taking accountability, learning from your mistake, and then moving on, right? Like, I've messed up in situations. Everyone's messed up in some kind of way, right? That's just how people are. But it's about like learning from that mistake and then not doing it again, like a month later, right? It's really not that hard to, you know, reflect, go, okay, I'm not going to do that again. I know now what to do, and then act on that. But these people, going back to that type of slop thing, they want to get this out as fast as they possibly can. They don't care. They will say and do anything to, like, you know, get that title and thumbnail.
Yeah, it's all on a certain message. So, like, actually, it's funny. Like, the Imallexx stuff's really interesting because I hate Imallexx. I was around for the Sizo stuff. You know, like a lot of people, I'm like, this has been a long time coming. But when that happened, Christy, I think her name is, came out with a document against Inabber.
Yeah. Oh, yep.
Everyone went, this is just a crazy bitch. She's angry. And I read this document. I read it on stream, and I was like, yeah, largely, I'm on your side. This is a crazy bitch. But the shit with the dog, I was like, this is actually worse than the stuff that Alex did to Alice. Like, unironically, it's really bad. At least in my opinion. I fought with a couple of people on this. I still think it's really bad. But I was like, the reason it didn't get picked up, if this had happened in a vacuum, I think Inabber would have been cancelled for it. Because, like, having a dog that you know is dangerous, bringing it into your, like, partner's home and, like, basically forcing her to interact with it after it's bitten her multiple times. She's had to go to hospital for it.
Yeah.
But nobody was willing to see that because everyone's focus is Imallexx. That's it. We care about Imallexx. We don't have capacity for anything else.
Yeah,
and I think that's an important learning point of, you know, you're going to have stories, you're going to have, like, dramas where the audience is going to be very fixated on one thing. They don't want to hear about anything else. And it's learning to shut the fuck up and then coming back to it in 6, 8 months, a year when something else happens and you can utilize it more fully then.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sorry to interrupt. I think it's interesting that you bring up like the Inabber thing. I think, to you at least, I think I have a different perspective of that because when that was going on, me and Inabber were talking quite a bit, right? He was sending me his document. I was looking over it. So, you know, on that side of things, you know, I was pretty involved. And of course, everyone's going to take different things, but like just from like an outsider's perspective, nobody really cared about this whatsoever. Not even Inabber's response, which I think really formulated things really well, pointed out the flaws of like what was going on, what actually happened with the dog and stuff. You know, pointing out the stuff that, you know, was left out of the other documents and stuff. But nobody gave a shit about not only Inabber's response, but you know, the fucking allegations in the first place, because everybody was focused on Imallexx and what Imallexx had done, and all the brand new people that were coming out about Imallexx. You know, and even just Imallexx's friends, everyone was fixated on that so much that nobody cared about either side of the Inabber stuff. And it's the same thing with MrBeast, right? Is that, you know, Dogpack and all these other people can fuck up as much as they want, but people are going to be fixated on MrBeast, or the general audience at least.
Yeah, I think it's also like we're hitting a point of Google document fatigue. We've been there for a couple of years now, but it's like, oh god, I was talking to somebody, I think it was Toastify, where it's, you know, he reaches a point where people now will see, oh, this person's released a Google document, so they must have answered for it. And it was really interesting during the Mama Max stuff, not the last drama that kind of chased him off the internet, but the one before it, where he was like, I would never abuse my exes. I'd never do that. And to prove it, here is a phone call linked in the description. And he talks about this phone call and he says it's linked, you can listen to it. And if you listen to it, he is clearly lying about it.
Yeah.
But he knows the game. He knows as long as he posts it, nobody will question it and very few people will listen to it. So
exactly.
overall, he can kind of just like lie to your face while presenting you the evidence that he's lying, which is fucking crazy. It's just wonderfully insane.
Dude, that's a new one. I'm not gonna lie, that's fucking wild.
Well, it's what a lot of people do, and like again, just go back to the Inabber thing. It's what his ex did as well, right? Is say one thing on Twitter, right? Then I'm going to derail it completely in this Google document, but you're not going to care because look, this is a 20-30 page Google document, right? But the general audience, right? Of course, commentators, we've got a completely different perspective, right? Because we will go through the document, look through the things where they're messed up, what they've said, like piece everything together, right? If it's for a video or a tweet or whatever. But the general audience won't, right? They see, oh, okay, well, they've responded in like a 30-40 page document. They must be innocent or guilty or whatever. And then we'll go back to their main target. If it's Imallexx, if it's MrBeast, Chris Tyson, or whoever, right? And that's the main issue with the dogpack stuff is he's been fucking shat on completely by the commentary community and other content creators. The general audience does not give a fuck, right? Like even going to MrBeast's response, the update with the internal investigation, right? Not one motherfucker of a general audience, I'm telling you now, read that fucking thing. And I just following the narrative.
But also, like, I think in this case, commentary is kind of won. I've never seen an audience like I expected this anti-MrBeast audience to be strong for the next like year and a half. And actually, they're really starting to fall off pretty hard now, which is a sign of how badly Dogpack has fucked up. But just to wheel it back to like kind of the point about kind of how audiences interpret things. It's really interesting when talking about Google Docs and coming from Twitch politics, because there's a real similarity there. One of the people I looked into was Tiger, this like VTuber dude.
Yeah.
And Tiger has an exoneration document, which is written by somebody who is obviously a fan of Tiger, who is obviously biased, and actually doesn't exonerate him. He just goes, oh yeah, Tiger has done these things, but I don't think he's a risk. And the people going after him are like evil. And everyone has accepted this exoneration document for like a year now. And it's really interesting, like as a comparison to Twitch poll, because this is what people in Twitch politics do with academic papers. They go, I've got this academic who says this thing, and therefore I'm right. But because many of them have never been through like a decent institution, the thing that they're not doing is like if you hand me an academic paper, my first question is who wrote this, what university are they at, and what political leanings do they have? Because academics are not unbiased. In fact, and I've seen plenty of papers where academics have actually fucked with their data to get the conclusion they want. But in Twitch politics, because it's amateur hour, they'll just go, well, it's published, so it must be true. Yeah, and that's like, that's the same thing with the Google Docs. It's like, well, they wrote 30 pages. They wouldn't lie in 30 pages. Yeah. It's like, fuck,
who's
man. Like, come on.
But it is a shame, and like even just tying it back to like right at the beginning, right when we talk about slop, right? With people like WestJet, right? Like he stated that whatever. I can't remember the video, so I'm not gonna like say for certain. But I remember this right from Larry's video when I was watching the other day about the fact that he didn't read like fully the Google document or document in a certain story, right? He just like sort of cherry picked, right? Didn't really bother, just skim read. And that's why with that slop content, it's coming under fire so much. And I 100% agree with that whole misinformation thing. It's because as a general audience member, right? You're probably not going to fucking read that, but you will probably watch an 8-minute video on it, right? You're probably going to sit down and watch that instead of having to read through 30 fucking pages. But then when a slop commentator, when a slop commentator doesn't bother doing their own research, it's like a fucking cycle. Like the general audience member's gonna have no idea what's fucking going on and just take what you've said for word because they think you've done the research.
Well, I mean, when CamNuggets said that he didn't script his work, I believe him because I don't think CamNuggets can read, let alone write a script. Like, I mean, okay, so wheeling it back a bit to talk more about kind of just the space itself, because I have sort of just come into it over the last like 12 months realistically, like kind of mainstream commentary, I guess, like, or small commentary. It's a really weird position to be in. I will admit it is very strange to find people come to me and go, well, what's Beckett's opinion? And I'm like, I don't know why any of you are asking me. I am a fucking, I am a shit posting asshole. Why the fuck do you care what I think? And it's a really interesting juxtaposition to some of the other content creators I've seen try and come up or like implode, who are desperate to be taken seriously. And I mean, time's a flat circle. None of this is new, but it is, you know, it is slightly weird as a position to be in now. I'm not really sure. I'm not sure what next year looks like because this year's been just so drama filled. But
it's insane.
well, yeah, I mean, I wonder whether it's going to be like 2017, where 2017 was everyone just eating each other. That was what 2017 was in 2018. It was just implosion after implosion, like internally in the communities.
I mean, for me personally, it's like somebody who's been doing commentary for so long, right? Done that whole like drama, like killed, like blood sports type commentary, right? I'm so over that side, right? Like the CamNuggets thing for me personally, I just happened to be there at the right place at the right time, right? And then sort of like stumbled into that. Like already scheduled to trust it with him like days before everything, so it just happened. But personally for me, I hate that. I would much rather, have a laugh, have a joke, make my content, enjoy myself, cover these situations. If I'm doing something serious, do something serious. If I'm doing something jokey, do something jokey, and then get on with like my life, right? But I think when it comes down to like all that like internal bickering within the commentary community, just communities in general, it can definitely be fun, especially more the lighthearted stuff. I mean, that CamNuggets recent stuff's been great, right? Because it's just been so like, easy. Bits have been lighthearted, bits have been serious. But when it's constant internal drama, and that's what like, especially the smaller side of commentary was like 2023, 2022, 2021. I think it takes away from like the main thing of the like everyone's goal is that we're making content. We're here to make content and do something that people enjoy, a hobby or whatever. I don't know. For me personally, I know I spoke to Gamma about this as well. Is I really don't like that whole like blood sports side of commentary unless you're going in there with like a reason.
Like I think people forget what blood sports was. Blood sports was people got paid to turn up on those shows, right? Like they got paid to turn up on early morning Kumite and shit. It's not organic, and it was never really meant to be. It wasn't, it was bringing on people like Bathtub Ross potentially to be shouted at. That's what blood sports was. It was literally blood for the blood gods. What we have now is, let's settle private beefs and everything else. But I think the mistake people make is, you can't win. Like, there's no winning this shit, and that's absolutely fucking fine. In some ways, why do you want to? Like, how much do you care? Because if you're at the point where you're like seriously on a stream or show or video actually outraged at what someone's done to you on like a personal level, you've probably lost to some degree anyway, because none of this should matter to you that degree.
So that's why, especially with commentary, right? My whole goal and my whole aim really is, right, is I hate when like a big commentary thing, unless it's something really serious, right? But like a personal issue becomes like a massive public matter, right? It's an issue that I had with Himbleton and Emerald, right? Was that they were having like some little shitty personal issues right behind the scenes, whatever. And then they brought it onto stream just unnecessarily and put it in front of like 50 people, right? And it became like a whole thing of them constantly arguing, derailing everything. Which
God, how things have changed that were like they put it in front of 50 people, and I'm like, I'm like, I mean, it's pretty damn the indictment of the content. Holy fuck.
Yeah. My whole thing with that always is that like I would much rather, right, if it can be like, helped if possible, settle something like that privately, right? It is a private matter. But I think with a lot of commentary people, especially in the smaller side of stuff, and just even in bigger commentary in general, is that something behind the scenes will happen, right? And they go, okay, there's content for the next month. Where for me, I would much rather, settle that behind the scenes if possible at all, and then move on from there. But I guess I'm just a little bit different, just in the sense of that's not my focus with commentary, and has never really been my focus with commentary. I sort of just fell into that side previously. But I feel like that's definitely been heightened by like the rise of live streaming commentary and how popular that's become as a recent.
Mm.
Is that we're constantly looking for topics, right? We're streaming like every other day, like every day, right? And we need to find as many topics as possible. And unfortunately, stuff like that happens. But yeah, I don't know how you feel about like other like more like private matters being like dragged into the public domain to like be like fucking like fought out for.
I mean, I've had dramas with people where something private has happened
Mhm.
and it's kind of got dragged out, and my position has largely been, if it's not good content, I don't care about it. So like, I end up in a big fight with somebody. I say big fight. They were really fucking mad. And a lot of people were like, "Well, are you going to talk to them?" I was like, "Well, no, because I'm busy, and
Well, yeah.
it doesn't do anything for the channel. Like, there's no win condition to that content. Like, it won't give me any growth. It won't give me any growth. Even if I fight with them, it won't stop the fight because they're like a dog with a bone."
Yeah.
So I just sort of just fucking ignored it, and then it took about a month and a half, and they gave up. Basically, I mean, they were gonna like make a video on me and everything, and then just stopped. And I was like, cool. But then on like my side, I now don't talk shit about that person because the kind of rule is if you're not going to talk to someone publicly, you stop talking shit about them publicly. And that's kind of like the position I've always held. If I'll talk shit about you publicly, I'll have a conversation with you and do it to your face. That's pretty much it.
I mean, sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, but like, I think internet beefs are fine, and if they bring you pleasure, do them. Like with the Morale and Himpleton stuff. I'll be honest as well. I think that one needed to be public because even before it, people were looking at Himpleton going, "Bro, what are you doing? Like, what's going on?"
See, for me, when like getting into stuff like that, if I'm getting into like some type of drama or whatever, it's either that I want to get involved because I think it's funny, right? So like, there was with a small commentator. I really don't know what you know with like small commentators stuff, but like AJ's here, right? Anytime when I was involved in that, it was just because I found it funny, right, to mock him, right, take the piss, right, have a laugh. Or it's the side of things that like, okay, I'm genuinely going at this person because I genuinely believe in what I'm saying, right? I don't do it because oh yeah, well, I just want content for like a stream or whatever. I do it because either I actually give a shit about it, or I think it'd be funny, right? Like it will be like a funny clip for Twitter, a funny tweet, a funny little YouTube video or whatever. But like I think in small commentary, it used to be that like you would go in, right, even if that person's done nothing wrong or said anything wrong, you would just go at their throats and bring it up anything private that you possibly can. And I hate that culture within commentary. I've never liked it, and I never will. And thankfully, that's something that's died off as recent. And a lot of people, again, it's starting to feel like an actual community again of people focusing on one big topic, going over things properly, looking at the facts and the evidence rather than the constant debates and arguments that are unnecessary and don't go anywhere. And I think that's what blood sports is for some people, right? Is that let's get in a call, let's argue for a bit. We're not going to get anywhere. It's going to go nowhere. And that's why with CamNuggets, when he came on TrashTalk, my whole goal was, I want to talk to this guy. I want to get to see his side of things, right, in more of a calm manner. But of course, that with him,
unfortunately, he was retarded. Like, so like it wasn't going anywhere.
But that's always my view with that type of stuff. So I would like just going back to the fucking original point. I thought we get there eventually, but fucking going back to what we said about like 2017 and stuff, and about next year, is I really hope it doesn't become that like internal cockfighting fest, right? Because I think the community and commentary works a lot better when it just isn't everybody going at each other's throats, like looking for like the fucking shitter of like the fucking day at that point.
Yeah, the mistake I think is a lot right now. What's happening is a lot of people are deleting videos. People are doing the whole kind of like, well, maybe I need to stop making. I don't want like CamNuggets to stop making content. I want CamNuggets to continue making content.
Yeah,
because down the road he will be content for me, and like that is super fucked up as a thing to say, but it's also the truth. Like I want as many people to be as dumb as possible on the internet as possible, because otherwise I'd have nothing to do. Like what would I fucking talk about? And that was kind of what happened in 2017. They basically started to drive out like the feminists stopped making content. So they started to eat each other. Then they drove out like Kraut and T's crowd with like the holidays and everything. And then there was no one left, so they just sort of went to war with each other, and it was like the end of the community. And that's kind of the risk you face, and that's what you don't want to happen.
That's why this year's been so good, right? In the sense of there has just been topic after topic after topic, right? Especially the summer, right? You had Imallexx, MrBeast, Dr. Disrespect, anything that you could want, even just in the smaller commentary scene, right? And commentary in general. You had like the fucking like shitters of the week. That you didn't have to provoke to do anything, right? They were just there. The constant dramas, the constant situations and stuff. And it's been a really good year for content creation. It's been a really good year for the community, right? So that's really, for me personally, at least. I couldn't think of anything worse than what happened in 2017 happening again this year, or next year, sorry. Because I think commentary works so much better when it isn't that.
No, and I enjoy talking to people and chilling out and just having fun discussions. That's the main thing. Drama shouldn't be this serious. Like, a lot of people get really fucking angry about all this shit. You shouldn't. None of it's that serious, except like child grooming scandals.
Exactly.
Like, most of it is just like, who fucking cares?
Yeah, honestly, that's why I like the CamNuggets thing a lot, just because like he's not a pedophile, he's not a scammer, he's a doxer, he's just a stupid gooner. So like it's really funny that you could just laugh at it. Like, you don't have to be like, this guy did something really fucked up.
Yeah. Well, that's what commentary was, especially in smaller commentary. During like 2023, 2022, it was like, oh, what's this guy done? Oh yeah, fucking he sent you. Oh fuck, he sent an old guy. Oh fuck, you groomed the kid. Right, it's like that every week, rather than like, oh, you know, it's some fucking funny thing like AJ like deciding to copy like Turkey Tom's entire video, right? Or fucking, you know, something stupid like that. Or CamNuggets like liking too much like BBWs or whatever, right? Something that's just funny, jokey. You can still make a video. You can still get loads of good content out of it. But it's just way more lighthearted fun. Because I think the content that covers like you know, a lot of my most popular videos and the stuff that I cover is always that more serious stuff, you know, the child predators and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think on that, right, it can get like, you know, pretty fucking depressing, right? I would much rather sit there and like point at some fucking receding hairline, bald mustache, fucking cunt bag gooning over BBWs than talking about some like, really serious matters constantly. And I think that's where commentary thrives, when it's just the fucking ridiculous and stupid shit. And even in like the really serious situations, right, going to like Cine and stuff, when you've got some fucking gooner like fucking Jala.
Like
you know,
the core of it is as well. I don't think a lot of people realize that most commentators can take a cancellation. They can take the internet turning on them, and they get really insular. They get really angry, and it's funny, but usually it won't break people. What really tends to break people is laughing at them. Most people can't fucking stand being laughed at. It's why they hate commentary so much. Because it's why people have hated Medica for so long. Because he's not there being like, we need to find this person's house or some shit. He's like, this person is a mouth-breathing retard. And they can't take that. Because, like, fundamentally, they believe themselves to be serious actors, and pointing out that they're, you know, ludicrous parodies of what humanity might look like if we go really downhill is a little uncomfortable for them, actually.
Yeah. I mean, that's what my whole thing is, like, unless it's like something really serious, right? Like, you know, child grooming and stuff like that. You know, don't take things too seriously, or don't take yourself too seriously. Just have fun, make jokes, whatever. Just, you know, as cringy as it sound, just vibe. You know, like, do what you want to, right? Without taking yourself too seriously, making yourself look like an idiot, because that's when you become like a target, right? Is that you make yourself look really, really fucking serious, right? You don't crack a joke, you don't fucking do anything. People are gonna mock you because you're gonna be really, really fucking easy to break, right? Really fucking easy. And that's partly as well, a bit like Boblax, right? He was kind of a great target for a lot of people, right? Because, you know, he didn't take himself too seriously, right? But he took himself seriously enough of like, I'm this guy, I archive these tweets, right? I am this guy. So then when he gets absolutely fucking butt fucked by half the community, people are just laughing and just going down to his fucking appearance. You know, he's a great target.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons that, like, previously when people have tried to start fights with me, it's not really gone anywhere, because I don't respond. Like, I'll respond if it's beneficial to me, like either because it's funny or it's good content. But like, I've seen some people get really fucked off because there's no outward signs they're annoying me. And you can see how I act just through Twitter. Like I've got I'll have a thread or even like the comment section of a video where people are going fucking crazy, and there'll be barely any response from Cope and Seethe. We don't really respond to our own threads. We don't comment back. We don't fight in comment sections because like that's not the point. Like, it's not why we're doing it. So a lot, and again, it kind of proves the point of if you want people to shut the fuck up about something, just stop talking about it yourself. Because if you're not giving them anything, they just get bored. They just get bored.
And that's why crash outs happen, right? As well, like the YouTuber again, close friend, but just a great example, right? Like a YouTuber essay channel called Kasari, right? Is like he was getting trolled on by like Alec Geckman and a few other content creators, like I say content creators, but the commentary a lot.
Sure.
He didn't really anything bad or whatever, but people were just taking the piss out of him, right? Like making a mockery out of some of the things he was saying, but he was responding to every single fucking thing. So people then went, okay, right, we can get something out of this guy, we can get like a raise out of this guy. So let's make a fucking tweet against him. And he kept fucking responding, and he made it 10 times worse for himself. And my advice to all these people would always be that, unless it's something really serious that you feel like you have to respond to, like an allegation or whatever, that type of thing, or that you can see yourself like making a piece of content out of it, taking the piss, not making yourself like a massive fucking target, don't respond. If it's annoying you that much, just fucking mute the guy, not even block, right? Because that's still getting a raise out of someone. You block them. There's a screenshot. That's another fucking tweet. Muting somebody, they don't fucking know that you've muted them, right? You just move on. You continue on with your day like nothing's happened. But that's where a lot of commentary YouTubers, especially commentary, I feel, go wrong because they feel like they have to respond to everything everybody's saying against them.
Yeah, they can't escape it. But again, if you live your life online and like that's what matters to you, look, it's weird. I don't think people. I've got the privilege, I guess, of a real a normal day job. I won't say real. I'll say normal. No one cares about any of this shit. Nobody gives a fuck about DEI. Nobody gives a fuck about the trans question. No one cares about the latest online drama. My greatest joy when I run across people like one of my colleagues, who I've known for years now, and we got on very well. But he was a recent graduate, and we were talking about this because he knows about that I do YouTube. And he was like, well, there was this guy I used to watch. He was, Brad Taste. And I was like, let me tell you about Brad Taste, bro. Let me tell you what's going on. Have you ever heard of a woman called Rose Malay? And it's just like...
well, it's great, man. Like, I've had so many of those interactions. Like, one of my friends in real life, I know, he dabbles in a bit of commentary, right? Which for me is like interesting, right? He watches Nicholas Dury and all them lot, knows lyrics, Jalen and all them people. But then when someone showed me, right, when their gay KSI lunch league, that type of really low ground fucking stuff was going on. My friends were laughing or whatever, showed me a tweet and went, look what this guy's done, this is really funny. He showed me a Parlo tweet. And it's like, okay, let's fucking hold on, right? Let's not fucking laugh at Parlo, right? You don't know who Parlo is, but I fucking know who Parlo is, right? I know who fucking Parlo is. I know homotopia, right? And I think it's really interesting, right? Because the majority of people that are, living their life that don't know about these type of situations, they do not give a flying fuck, right? And that's where the perspective that I look at it from is that, if I went up to some random, just even a teenager, right? A teenager is a great example of this, right? So if I went up to some random 18-year-old and went, what you thoughts on this? Most people aren't going to give a flying fuck, and that's always the view I try and look at for is, an average person is not going to give a fuck about this, right? They're not going to care, right? So why should I care? And I think it's always an interesting perspective when you're not asking a fucking content creator that lives and breathes content creation.
Yeah, it's bizarre as well because it's bizarre as well because so much of this stuff is in the weeds where I know people in the real world who know about the MrBeast stuff. Yeah. And they were talking about, and they were like, there's this really obscure thing. Do you know who Chris Tyson is? MrBeast. I was like, yeah, I know who Chris Tyson is. They brought out Chris Tyson's Discord. Do you know what Discord is? I was like, I know what Discord is. Yeah. They were like, yeah, it was crazy. And I was like, yeah, crazy. And I was like, and I'm waiting because I found it one of the weirdest experiences I think I've had was like Keemstar, like I say Keemstar, like Drama Alert featured a section of the Dogpat video I did.
Yeah.
On Drama Alert, and I was like, "That's cool, you know, like that's fine." I've never really spoken to Keemstar. Like I've got a route to him, but we've never really like had a like face like a cool interaction or anything. So I don't want to present like we're close or anything. Like I want to be really, because some people are like, "Oh my god, you know Keemstar?" I'm like, "Well, I mean, in passing, kind of like it's sure, it's not really like Keemstar knows everybody. That's not special." But a load of people fucking DM'd me. Like, just tons. Congratulations, you've been featured on Drama Alert. Well done. All Copenhagen's, you're on Drama. And I was like, yeah, I don't. So? Because, like, okay, that's cool. But to me, it didn't actually occur to me that really mattered at all. I was like, yeah, Drama Alert features drama and news and stories.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, obviously. But that's been really weird when people DM me, like somebody sent me Turkey Tom's video on the whole thing. It was like, "You're in the Turkey Tom video." I'm like, well, yeah, like, and that's cool, but it's like, it's kind of whatever, like, really, honestly.
Well, that's what I got when just like in real life, right? When like my friends saw that I was really heavily involved in the beginning of the Imallexx stuff, right? That like I got the ball rolling there. They're freaking out. It's just like, yeah, but that's what I spend my time doing, right? They're like, to me that's not insane, right? To me that's just doing what I want to, like, online. And even so far as like I made a video like detailing like the career of like a kids YouTuber called EvanTube, right? Massive in American, like over like, in the UK as well. And he saw the video, commented, followed me on Twitter, and to me that's like, oh wow, like I'm happy that's happened, right? But I don't think too much of it because again, YouTube type of brain. But then get DMs from people in real life, going, oh well, that's so cool, right? Like, how do you feel, whatever. It's interesting on perspectives, and I don't think people think about like the outside perspective and what the casual viewer or just like a regular person would think of stuff like that. And I try not to take things like that for granted anymore. Because I think, well, like a general person's gonna get excited about this, right? I think I should get excited about that and not focus too much on like the gay like commentary drama that most people don't give a flying fuck about, right? Apart from other like gay commentators, right? So I think it's nice to get other people's perspective, especially when it's just more like the casual viewer or just the casual person, what they think of things, because I think it brings just a load of brand new stuff to the table.
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing is this: it's when we can have an input or give somebody something else. I think I said during some of the Dogpack stuff, like if there's a place I want Copenhagen to slot into in the commentary community, it's as an arms dealer.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be like, when you've got something where you're like, I need to know the truth of something, or I this guy's a fucking asshole, what can you find that's like, just proves that their narrative is bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, long term, I'd like to be like, oh, Copenhagen may have something, and then because that was kind of the turning point in the Dogpack shit. Nick and Keem were going super hard, understandably, but it was when we started going through the James Warren stuff and like Dogpack's history that it really, like, that was the ammo needed for them to go to the next level and fucking just break him to pieces. And that's a really satisfying feeling. I'm not. I don't want to. I don't necessarily want to take the scalp, but I'd quite like to Lord of War it.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
quite nice.
Well, I mean, I completely get that, and like when I bring up the Imallexx stuff, right? Like for me at least, that's like and not like ego-y, right? But just like that's for me, that's like a big achievement for me, right? Like I care way more about that than any gay commentary drama, any debate that I've ever had, right? Is that I had some type of effect on that, right? An influence on that in just any capacity, right? And like I hold that up as like, okay, I'm so glad that that's happened. Right? I'm gonna remember that rather than remember some gay little commentary drama, right? And that's like really for me as a content creator, what like I push to do is that like, I'm more than happy, right, if once a year, twice a year, whatever amount, that I get to have an effect on a situation like that. And then for the rest, I'm just making my content, chilling, doing what I want, living life and making a few jokes here and there. But I think some people get way too much in their head about numbers, views, where they are, their ego. Where for me, I think maybe it's just because I've been doing commentary for a bit longer, and some people are like just a little bit behind on the road where I was previously. Is that like I've kind of gone through that, and I've got to a stage where like I know what I want, I know what I'm doing, I know not to stress about certain things or get involved in certain things, and I'm kind of where I want to be at. I don't know if that's where you are, because I know for you, of course, like you are like a fairly new content creator in commentary at least. But like it seems pretty much like you've got everything figured out in the sense of like you know what you want to achieve and where you want to be at least.
Yeah, I mean, I will admit that one of the reasons I moved over to YouTube and one of the reasons I started, like if you see any of my old content, it's really unfocused. It was very community based. It was very heavy, like read chat, like chill with like 30 people, and it was very light, very little focus. But what changed was I had a couple of dramas at the start of the year over Progressive Victory, with two commentators in particular, who like Wick TV and Tom Foolery. And that really drove me, because both of them are people, and there's been other people as well who've been kicking around like the politics space, talking about themselves as artists, and what they do is just a different level. And like, you know, I don't understand why you think your opinion would matter, Beckett, on content creation. So I just thought, fuck it. You want to see channel growth? You want to see concurrent numbers growth? And like there is part of me still that is very spite based, and I will occasionally check in on some of these people and see how they're doing and have a little chuckle, because you know, I can quite happily sit at 100, 200 concurrent on a general night. If it's a big story, it's like 400. I've got like videos now with like 10 to 20 is pretty standard, and then you know we got the 100k video. So yeah, it's pretty satisfying looking at some of the people who told me that I couldn't possibly know what the fuck I was talking about, while my channel fucking shits on their channels that have been around for years. They had all the advantages of COVID as well.
So,
you know.
I get it, man. Like I think for me, right, when it comes down to that, right, like I feel like I'm a pretty conservative guy when it comes to like views and numbers and stuff, in the sense of that I don't really talk about it, right? And I don't know if it comes from a superstition that, oh yeah, if I'm really happy about that or say anything about that publicly, right, my channel's just going to go to shit, right? I've always got that in the back of my head, right? But I think for me, I don't talk about numbers in private, right? Like if some guys like shout my views or whatever, right, and they've had a decline, right, I'm going to sit there and fucking like mock the fucking shit out of them, right? Like take the piss or whatever. But for me, I think I've seen so many other people get wrapped up in their own ego, wrapped up in their own numbers. I'm really careful with what I say about it and how I come across when talking about like a big achievement. Like I got to 100k recently on like my main Samuel channel, and that was from like a mixture of long form shorts or whatever. But anytime I tweet about it, I always try to like, you know, I'm happy about it, thanking people, always trying to take the piss out of myself or whatever, like a little bit in the tweet or post, because I don't like to come across as like, oh, look what I've got, right? In the sense of I've seen so many YouTubers, especially in commentary and just other genres and niches, fall into that trap of, look, I've got this many subs, right? It doesn't matter what you've got, right? Look at me, look at me, look at me. I don't have enough or whatever. And I never want to fall into that, right? I always want to be more relatable than I am. Like, oh, look at this, right? Like that type of flexing stuff. So for me, when it comes down to numbers and stuff, I'm always really cautious with how I talk about it, what I say about it. Because at the end of the day, I want people to look at the channel and not in the sense of a number, right? Like I would still be doing YouTube even if I've got like a fucking like 5 views or whatever. I want them to look at it based more on content, right, rather than the number or figure. But I would be lying if I said that, like, you know, that the views aren't nice. I would be lying.
Well, I mean, it's one of these like I'll talk about it here, like in reference to kind of like where like with that. But generally speaking, I think talking about numbers is cringe. I don't consider myself in competition with anyone. And I think the happiest I am is when I can like do a topic that literally no one cares about other than me. And still have people turn up to watch it, because that's kind of like the litmus test. But like as like a core thing, I guess. Sub numbers don't matter. They just don't have any real relevance anymore. The like if you can make people laugh and be happy, and because really like we're nothing without our audiences. I think that's the main thing, and ultimately I just look at it and go, actually, I'll put it this way. The progressive victory drama, one of the reasons I got so pissed off was essentially it was content creators going, well, I've got an audience, I can talk to people, so that means I can go and work with this political organization and shill their shit, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't even disclose to their audiences that they were being paid.
Yeah.
And they made arguments to me of, well, people trust me, you know, I've built this audience, and now, you know, I'm working with this group because they care what I think. And I was like, no, they don't. Your audience, if you respected your audience, you tell them, because the reason they didn't tell their audience is because they thought it might have an impact. They thought it might make them sound compromised, because they fucking were compromised. And like people like this who have no respect for their audiences, that's why they lose them. That's why the audience doesn't stick around. Because at the end of the day, you know, and this is why I also hate streamers and like content creators who just like act like their audiences are a little personal fucking army that has to do what they say. I'm like, fuck that shit. Like, your audience is a reflection of you. As a content creator, you get the audience you deserve. And if you hate your audience, and plenty of content creators do, you fucking deserve that audience. That's the baseline.
See, my thing has always been like riding the line between like, you know, I want my audience not to like, you know, parasocial like Dream, right? Because his audience, he like really like pushed that whole parasocial thing, right? But like for me, I always love to think that like, you know, people can watch my content, can listen to me on streams, listen to me wherever, and get some kind of relatability out of it, right? Feel like, you know, if they wanted to, they can also start like a channel, do whatever they like, in the sense of that, you know, I will talk to people, my viewers, like I would like a mate, in the sense of, you know, I'll call them like dickheads, right? Like, you know, stuff like that, right? In the sense of like, I always like to build like a community where, you know, if I do something wrong, right, I want them to criticize me. If I do something right, you know, they can praise me if they want, whatever, right? I always want like an honest and open community where it isn't all ego driven, right? I would much rather that than something where my audience is completely constantly sucking me off, or a parasocial one. I think with audience, especially bigger content creators, they really take it for granted. Going back a while now, some viewers might know, but there was a situation with a guy called Zero Needs Coffee. But one of the big takeaways that I always took from him, none of his like big allegations or anything like that, was that you know, one tweet that he made of like, you know, I've got 100,000 subscribers, right? But you know, everyone has that now. Like, it's not enough, right? And he just hit it, and that was his first tweet about it. And it was like, okay, you're just really like taking the piss out of your audience of like dedicate themselves, right? In the sense of, you know, they're watching, they're entertaining, and interacting with your content, and you're kind of shitting on them, right? Like saying it's not enough, that you want more and stuff. And I always aim not to be like that, and always aim to like have a community where it's like, you know, I appreciate the respect, I appreciate people like engaging with the content and stuff. And I think just bigger content creators really take that for granted. And I think that's one of my massive bugbears, is that when somebody takes their audience for granted like that, it really pisses me off.
Yeah, no, it is like a basic thing of, if you've got an audience that cares about you, you're lucky. You're lucky.
Yeah.
Most people don't. Most like video essayists and like the like slot content creators, their audience doesn't actually care about them. They've got no real like personal connection to them. Streamers have it easier because your audience can kind of get to know you in an off-the-cuff manner, but it's never like it's never pure. Like I'm not the same person like having a pint with me as I am on stream, obviously. But I think when you've got situations like that, when you've got a channel that's doing well and people are prepared to show up, watch your shit, comment on it, promote it. It's funny actually, like you know, I know people have come to other friends of mine and been like, "Do you know this Beckett guy? Do you know Cope and Seethe?" And he's like, "Yeah." And it's weird to think that other people are promoting my content quietly just because they enjoy it. And I think that's like fucking super based. I particularly like lurkers. I think lurkers get like, probably because I was one, but like I think lurkers get a bad rap. They don't get their names out there. They're not like recognized in the chats. But like, look, the vast majority of watchers are lurkers. The vast majority. And they deserve like caring about as well. Like it's like you guys are fucking great. So
see, my whole rule is that, like, you know, if your audience are going to turn up, engage with your content, push you out like that, right? They're showing you respect, right? It does not take much to show respect back to them, right? And build like a positive, good community, right? And that's not hard. But a lot of content creators fall into that whole ego thing where they just don't care and they take their audience for granted. And I don't know why it happens. I think genuinely it is just from like a numbers and ego perspective. But I don't know. I wish like bigger content creators would, like, you know, actually respect their audiences a lot more, because without them, you know, they wouldn't be anywhere.
yeah, I think in commentary we tend to actually be better with it. I will admit.
Oh
that.
yeah, definitely.
Like I think most people have good interactions with their audiences. I think an awful lot of people want to keep the Discords running, despite the fact that Discords are a bit of a pain in the ass. Like I'm like this with mine. You know, if you gave me a toss up, if you went like there'd be no impact. Actually, no, hold on. If you went, nobody in your audience would mind the Discord disappearing. I'd probably get rid of it. But I know that they want the Discord, and like I'm really careful with it. It's got very few channels in it. But I know it matters for them and they enjoy it, so I keep it around. And I like hearing from them. That's the truth. Like a lot of them are funny people. I am so fucking lucky with the amount of artists in my community. Like we have a resident artist for the for Cope and Seethe who's like doesn't get paid, has never asked to be paid, but like she like that's like they're doing work like for the channel basically that's funny and like it is like great little bits, like drawing people as Care Bears, and it's so good to have that. We've got another artist, like she does a lot of like the thumbnail stuff through all the ACC stuff, and even down to like just friends I've made through commentary. Like my VTuber was done by somebody because I thought it'd be a nice thing for me to have. Like shit like that. It's just incredible.
Well, that's where you want to get with like a community and building one, right? Is where like they genuinely care, right? In the sense of like you can like
they're invested,
right? Yeah, they're invested, and like they will, like, you know, not saying that they have to do things for you, but right, but they care enough that they will, right? Like you said about artists, I've got loads of artists in my community, like someone called Seethe, who did like my profile pictures, but basically all my channels, right? Because they care about the content they're making, and they wanted to like give me like a new look on them. Same with like Vellum, another guy that does like quite a few like thumbnails and stuff for like people like Himbleton and stuff. Somebody who like does art for me frequently, and loads of people. I can name like loads of people. And I think it's always good when you get to that point and have a community like that where they actually genuinely give a fuck, right? Rather than with like slop, like topic commentary type thing, where they do not give a flying fuck, right? Unless you're somebody like Pegasus who's been mean to fuck because of their slop content, right? people don't care, right? And I always think that's a shame, right? Because I love going into my Discord server, or like whenever I try and remember to be active and stuff, and see people like maybe talk about the new video, like post an art piece of me. And it doesn't matter like how well I do or how bad I do. That I will never go over that, right? Because it's a weird feeling going into a server or whatever and seeing that someone's like drawn a piece of art for you, made a piece of content for you. It's really interesting. I really like that. And I think people do genuinely take that for granted. Not so much in commentary, because I do think that like the communities are very close and intertwined. But I think that's something that a lot of content creators don't talk about. And I think it's great.
So let me ask you a question, because I never get to do this. Because the only time I have ever heard people talk shit about me is when it reaches me through the grapevine, and it's not very often these days. Which I think is a shame, because I think that shit's really funny. I've heard some crazy stuff about myself over the years, and it doesn't seem to happen anymore. But as I've got you both here, what do you hear about me and Cope and Seethe?
Oh, wow.
What's your impression?
Well, like, I heard a lot about you through live streaming and that type of thing, like the now recording stuff. But I never hear anything like overly negative about you. I mean, the only time that like I've ever seen you be like clowned or anything like that, not really clowned, just like brought up in like a more of a negative light, is with Kumo. And just, you know, talking to Kumo in any kind of capacity, especially for commentary, right? Kind of mean that, like, you know, you get like made fun of a little bit.
Yeah, my first like impression, like not impression, my first like sighting of you was kind of like when Lyle Convoy and Kumo had a debate on your stream. And then it was around that. I also saw you get a lot of shit for the Shadman thing, like you said earlier. And I don't know, like it was kind of like dumb. I kind of agree. Like you were just naming people associated. It kind of feels like people were reaching to say that you want every single person to be canceled and like
Yeah,
bombarded.
people did this like fucking crazy thing where they were like, well, it's because you made a cancellation list. And I was like, look, I can fully understand. Like, someone came on stream and they really tried to press me on this, and they were like, "You should apologize for that." And I was like, "Well, I'm not going to apologize for something that I didn't do. I'll accept the criticism that it can be read that way, and I should do better in the future to make sure the stuff that I put out can't be read that way, at least from my perspective.
Yeah,
But
because
I'm not going to
personally,
apologize for something that I reject was an intention. Like, it's
yeah,
just dumb."
I mean, like I'm
Um,
pretty sure it was like Willie Max show that made that point. Which I mean, I don't mind Willie Max show. I think he's pretty chill, but like I did genuinely disagree with it. It's like, I mean, like some people in this list don't even deserve to be canceled. Like, and then he like brought up like the SpongeBob edgy art.
Well, I
Like,
mean, the best thing about that is like, so like I've spoken to Willie, I get on with Willie. Like, again, not close. I don't want to create any impressions that I'm like friends with like big
yeah,
creators. Like, I want to be really clear about that. But I've spoken to Willie since then,
yeah.
and I will say this about that list and about the people who got highlighted in it, like Nux Taku, for example, who went fucking crazy.
Yeah, he's schizoed out.
We were, to be clear, very, very fucking lucky because pretending otherwise is ridiculous, because
Yeah.
whenever anybody did that to us with that list, they'd go, well, what about Nux Taku? What about this person? What about, oh, this person just got like a fucking SpongeBob art. And every time somebody did that with the list, they do it with like, so Willie did it with that girl, and then she turned out to be a Shotacon.
Oh.
So like Willie was like, why is she on the list? And like there's a load of comments under it going, I think from one of them's from a like kind of like anti-woke YouTuber. He's like, well, she's a Shreddercon. And then with the Nux Taku stuff, we just put that there. Nux reacted to it, sent his audience after us, which I'm going to be really clear. I didn't actually realize had happened. Someone else had to point it out to me because I just wasn't reading the comments. I was like, I knew what was going to happen. So I was like, whatever. And then basically proceeded to like crash his career into a brick wall without us doing anything else. So like
that was really funny.
We got really lucky with the Shadman list because the people who like other people ran defense for actually had a load of skeletons that kind of like made the people defending them look dumb doing it.
Yeah, I mean, like,
but
even
that was
with
luck.
Nux,
That was luck. And
like,
you know.
yeah, like even with Nux, like even I feel like you have to be very charitable to say that he was innocent. But like even with like on his second channel, like Nuxanor, like he used Shadman art in the thumbnail, and even if it wasn't Shadman, like what he said, it was really fucking weird because it was an 8-year-old girl with no shirt, and there was a black bar censored over where her nipples would be. So it's like, why would you want
he's
that?
a degenerate. So
Yeah, it's like,
but I mean, this is the thing. Like, if you've got the skeleton, shut the fuck up. That's
for
the basic.
real. Dude, he put so much heat on himself because people are like, actually, and just like showed a lot of screenshots and
he just couldn't take the L. But it's interesting that people seem to have such a like not interesting. It's nice. It's nice that people have a good impression of us. I like to think it's because, you know, generally speaking, we're pretty thorough. We try to improve, and I'm not a fucking retard. Like, you know.
Well, yeah. So, see, like I was saying, like the only time I've heard anything bad about you, and it isn't really about you either. It's just like, you know, Kuma, that like you had an interaction with Kuma. That's literally it, right? And because
I mean that was a fuck up. I had to take an L on that. Like, but again, it's from my perspective, I'd rather take an L because I was too nice to a Spurg than because I was just a snaky dick.
Yeah,
you know?
Right, right? Like, I get it.
I mean, you're just being charitable at the end of the day, so it's like, who cares, you know?
I mean, and again, from that perspective, that's just small commentary, like, you know, having a massive history with Kuma, right, and knowing his actions, right. That isn't about you, right? That's just like, you know, you were charitable to a guy, and you know, he kind of fucked himself. But yeah, I mean, it's always nice to like see people that aren't like, you know, commentary shitters, right, within the community. Right? Like, I feel for me, like, I don't think I don't know really with my reputation. I think it can vary depending on who you ask, but I think at the moment, all around, right, crossing my fingers here, I've got a decent, good reputation. I think, and like I don't, when it comes to my reputation, as long as people don't think that I'm this weirdo degenerate like cunt bag, right? I don't mind, right? Like if people hate me, right? People aren't always gonna like you, right? Like you might have not even done anything, and people aren't gonna like you. But I would much rather be seen as actually something genuine. Right? If someone doesn't like me, someone doesn't like me. As long as people don't think I'm like this deranged weirdo, I don't mind. That's my whole thing when it comes down to it. Is that you can say whatever you want, but as long as people don't see me as a weirdo, we're fine.
Yeah, and I think it's you should like this is the Kiwi Farms mistake. You should never want everyone to like you.
Oh, definitely.
Sure.
I mean, I got asked by Chud. I've known Chud for quite a while as well. I don't think people realize how long I've known Chud now. Like that's not again like we're not super busy mates, but we've met up in real life. We've been for a beer.
Fun.
We've had our ups and downs.
Yeah.
Chud asked, like, well, it seems like some people in chat hate you. How do you feel about that? I was like, I don't really care because that's the truth. I'm like, you want a contingent to dislike you on the internet because if they don't, your fall's going to be worse, and everyone's fall is coming. Like unquestionably, like it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And somebody highlighted that Kiwi Farms had mentioned us. And I was like, that's nice. I don't care. And they were like, they think you're a faggot. And I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, good. I mean, what else would they think about me? Why, I'd be more concerned if Kiwi Farms were like, yo, this guy is super based. I'm like, oh, fuck, that is not going to end well.
It's very rare. It's very rare Kiwi Farms likes you. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's just not a thing. And like again, I've been around, like, I remember 4chan. I'd find it very hypocritical if I sat here and was like, I hate Kiwi Farms. I don't really care. They're just, they're just a site talking about people, and that's kind of based, actually. I think it's funny. So, I think a lot of people want everywhere to be a fan base. And we have entered this weird time now where like Prism did this. I've seen a couple of other content creators do it, where they're literally going on Kiwi Farms to promote themselves, which is fucking crazy. Like I'd never do that. And it's one of those. It's just like, but it reminds me of like this point 4chan was actually, I don't know if you remember this, where 4chan went a bit mainstream. And like teenagers were joining it and were like, guys, I'm just trying to fight with Twitter. We should raid him. Like, so 4chan, help me dox this person. And everyone was like, this is the death of 4chan. This is the end. And I kind of wonder whether that's going to be what happens to Kiwi Farms. I wonder if we're entering that stage where Kiwi Farms is actually kind of becoming kind of mainstream. Most people in internet group, like worlds, will know that Kiwi Farms exist now. And they're talking about Kiwi Farms in the way that we used to talk about 4chan.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if something like that happened. I would not be shocked. Especially something like so deranged, and like just going back to what we were talking about as well. So like not everyone's gonna like it. And I think people just need to remember, right? Is that it's great to have the ambition of like I don't want to be like fucking like despised everywhere, right? Because I don't think anyone's sitting there going, oh fuck, I really wish everyone hated me. But like it's taking that thing of like not everybody is going to like me, right? I'm gonna have my community of people that might enjoy my content, might like me or whatever. Content creators that like me, but then there's gonna be the general audience that sometimes don't like you. Content creators that don't like you, and you kind of take that on the chin. You move on. If that's something that you can maybe fix, if it was like a critique of you or whatever, if you care enough, right, implement that, right? But not everybody is gonna like you. That's just life, right? That's just in real life as well. Not even just like a matter of like internet stuff. So not everyone's gonna like you for whatever reason. It could be anything like your breath smells like shit. You know what I mean, right? And I think people just need to like accept that rather than like fixating over it. And hopefully, people start to do that, because I think that's always again a bugbear for me, is that like when people care too much if like somebody dislikes them, it's like it happens, right? You just accept it, move on or whatever. And everyone goes through a stage where they care, right? If it's when they're younger or whatever, they care if someone doesn't like them. But that's just about embracing that and moving on. But unfortunately with commentary, just because smaller commentary and commentary, it's a mix of like younger people, older people, whatever. There is kind of that thing of like, content creators kicking off that everyone doesn't like them, or a certain content creator doesn't like them. Which is what it is.
I mean, I think it's more fun. I've said this before, like, I find it a lot more funny to... I mean, this is why I asked the question, because I find it kind of funny to hear crazy things about myself. But I have been in chats where people who don't really know me are just unquestionably nice about me and supportive. And like it's cool. Like if I do a bit of content, it's like, oh my god, this is really cool. But also occasionally I'll see things and I'm like, wow, this is kind of gay.
Well, yeah.
Like,
Like I've got a really good example of that, right? Is that, do you remember that Keemstar copy paste of like, I've just hit a dog like in my truck going like something miles an hour, right? And like I did that, right? And I just tweeted out, right? And I go back, I do whatever I was doing. I think I was playing a game or something, right? Cool. And I go back to check, and there's a live stream started, right? And there's a bunch of people that genuinely think down I've like fucking killed a dog, right? They genuinely think I've got in my like because they just don't know about the copy paste. But they genuinely think I've got in my truck and mowed down some poor dog and tweeted about it. And people are going, "Oh, I bet you didn't mean it." Like, "Oh, Samuel, you okay?" or whatever. But you know, I find it so funny. I find it so funny how people perceive things about you or what people say about you, right? Because we're realistically, right? Like when I posted that copy paste, no way did I think some fucking retard was going to actually think that I killed my dog, right? It's a pretty popular copy paste. But I really like how people perceive things, especially when it comes down to jokes and sarcasm and stuff like that. How badly people can misread things, like a whole tweet when it's like sarcasm. It's great, I love it. I love that side.
I think it's really interesting how things spread and how people don't really know the origins of them as well. Because I'll get deep with this. Do you remember when the Bo Black stuff happened and Lyrics had a stream thumbnail of Bo Black's like behind a chessboard, like the like Dr. Disrespect chessboard?
Yeah.
Okay, so I made that. And I didn't put my name on it or anything else. I'd made that. I gave it to Diorio, who I think tweeted it out, and then Lyrics used it as a thumbnail. And I was like, what a weird fucking chain of events that has ended up with some random thing I made as a joke while sat in a Discord call laughing about what was going on. To ending up as Lyrics' thumbnail for Lyrics' like beating the shit out of Bo Black stream. Like, what a weird chain of events. Like, and you've got loads of little things like that. And I think that's I actually just think that's really fucking based. I love shit like that. And often people are far too. I know people, if they saw that happen, I think it's the first time I've ever mentioned that that's where that image came from. But I know that there are people who would do this thing where they would, like, the minute they saw Lyrics tweet that, they'd be like, that's my image. I made that. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't care about, like, I care about if it's funny. That's it. That's all anyone should give a shit about. In my opinion, I know that's like a super fucking hot take. But if you can consistently get things out that are funny, in my opinion, you'll probably end up being successful. Because a lot of people just aren't funny, and that's what kills them, their channels and their careers.
I live for like making a funny point, right? Like genuinely, like it's gonna sound crazy, right? But I get way more like a rush from making a funny tweet and people get what I'm joking about, get what I mean, and they like it, than I do making a good fucking video, right? And then that might sound a bit crazy, right? But like it's something about that putting out like a funny tweet or a funny video or whatever, and people genuinely like finding that funny, finding it like whatever. Than putting out a serious video. I love it, and that's why I love the more joking, comedic stuff in commentary, right, and the dramas and stuff, because it is just funny, right? You can take the piss out of it. It's not too serious, light-hearted. And I always think that type of drama and controversy and those tweets and posts are just always 10 times better than the serious ones, right? There's just something about those type of posts that are just way better. I love it.
Yeah.
Like, of course, the serious stuff's always going to get way more views, way more interactions, because it's way more serious. And people engage with that type of thing. It's why a lot of channels like I don't know if you know a guy called Harley TBS, right? But for a while, like, every single video of his would be fucking like, oh, this guy's a groomer, this guy's a groomer, this guy's a groomer, right? Because that's what did well for his channel, and that's just how that is. The audience, that's what his audience wants. But for me personally, it like that comedic stuff. I love covering that, making jokes or whatever, way more than I do serious stuff. I'm talking about serious stuff.
Well, the worst situation you can put yourself in is like SlimeBeast situation.
Oh boy.
SlimeBeast is like, I have no strong opinions on SlimeBeast. I'm just using him as an example because I've seen this recently, where SlimeBeast is one of these creators who could have a really good point. He could like hit on something, like nail on the head. But because of the like way he approaches content and the way he approaches like topics, if I see a Slime Beast video, and I know this is true for the vast majority of people, our first response is just to ignore the fuck out of it. And
Yeah.
that is a terrible position to be in, because it means that you can essentially do all the work, but your reputation is so bad no one will give a shit.
Yeah.
And that's horrifying. That's actually horrifying.
And there's always the stuff you focus on. If I ever seen like a Slime Beast video, it's AI, the AI in the thumbnail, fucking is great, right? I love it. Whatever stuff he's put in the thumbnail, or like going back to like one of my close things is AJ, right? You see an AJ video, right? You're clicking on that to fucking hate watch, right? Like watch for the things he's fucked up on. Not that you care about the situation or the information, right? Just what he's fucked up on or what he's messed up on. And that point as a content creator, that's when you really should take a step back and go, okay, how do I reinvent myself where people aren't just looking for things where I've fucked up or dumb things I've said, or like where for AJ, for example, he put in a character still and it looks like he's fucking like wanking off two people, right? Instead of the actual things he's saying. So I think when you get there as a content creator, you need to take a little step back and go, okay, what the fuck am I actually doing? Like, how have I got here?
Yeah, like, look, I think meta combos like this are like fun to have, and like talk about like where like a channel is at and like where a content creator is at. I think the main thing though is like it's not just like where you are as a channel and things, because I mean when we began this it was like, well, how did Cope and Seethe come around? One thing that's really interesting is I'm trying to think of a non-ego, it's ego sounding way to put this because it's really not. If Diorio ever talks about me, he'll never call me Cope and Seethe. He will always call me Beckett. Because Cope and Seethe is a channel. I'm Beckett. I'm a creator.
Yeah.
But also Cope and Seethe isn't just me. It's Jenny.
Yeah.
It's other people who we're bringing on. Like we've got a new editor called Max. He's really good. And it's a collaborative effort. At some point in the future, Cope and Seethe will end. And I will go and do something else. I'll either go and do another channel, or I will go and do something new as a creative venture. In the same way that like my original kind of channel and creation just stopped and ended, and it's dead now. And I think people get like too attached to the channel itself, whereas like a core thing is like, who are you? And like this is the great thing about Keemstar, actually. Keemstar is not like Drama Alert. Keemstar is not like the Keemstar show or Local Live. Keemstar is just Keemstar. He just has lots of different projects. And like if there's like a template you should try and fit into, or if for like long-term survival, if you like, or just for your mental health, it's work out who you are first and then
definitely
work out what your channel is and your content is like, because that's much more changeable.
Definitely. And like for me, I don't apply myself to that like in a bit of a different way, right? Because my brand is Samuel. I'm Samuel, right? I'm not like a YouTuber, or like in the sense of like I've got a name or whatever, right? I'm just Samuel. My channel is just Samuel. So like with that, I can always, as I grow as a person, that's always going to grow. But with TrashTalk, for example, right? This project won't always go on. But maybe I've got a little bit more liberty because this is sort of just my thing, really. But you definitely want to find like who you are and like what you enjoy, how you process content creation. I mean, like you bought Keemstar. People see him as Keemstar, not Drama, right? And he's got a whole team that does that now. And then he goes off and does his next project, and he hands it off, does his next project or whatever. And you want to find out, what people want to come back for, right? Like if people like, I think like if people know you as Cope and Seethe, right, that's when you've got an issue, right? Rather than like you as Beckett, right? And I think mainly people know you as Beckett, right? And the Cope and Seethe was like a collaborative project. Like if people start calling me TrashTalk, I'd be a bit like, bit concerned.
Yeah, I mean, Cope and Seethe is like an interesting one because it is. God, one of the early comments we got was, "How dare you? How dare you take an internet phrase and use it as your channel name?" What? I was like, "Fuck off!" Just like I actually was like, just because no one else decided to do that, but it's also like a sign of what the channel is. I think it is a it's a recognition that no one is going to go around calling me Cope and Seethe. It's too general a term,
Yeah.
and no one should, because it's
definitely.
just, it's just one of those things. And like long term, I think people want to be like associated in some way to like this cool thing. But ultimately, like when we look at like the big things that have happened, like Metica, like Rakita Law, like fucking MrBeast, Markiplier. It's not about the name of your channel. It's mostly about, are you putting out something that people are going to resonate with, that's got some longevity to it, because that's how you build a profile. That's it.
Definitely.
And long term, I hope that do you know what? Actually, I've said this before. My long term goal of everything I do online is that in 10 years' time, 2 people are going to sit on a podcast somewhere, and they're going to badly remember what my lore is, and then call me a fag. That's the goal. That's the goal. That's it. If that happens to me, I want them to confuse me with Craig Beckett. I want them to be like, how did this guy groom some girl named Emmy and get away with it? Wasn't she like 12 or something? I want that to happen, because that's how you know you've made it as a content creator, when your lore is so obscure that people will be aware you existed, but almost nothing about you. That's like Kino.
Yeah. Like, that one guy. What did he do? Did he beat Imallexx's ex-girlfriend? Like that. That's what I want, right? But I get that, man, and like I feel like that's a nice conclusion to the episode, right? The end of everything, right? But man, I really do appreciate you coming on for what, like fucking hour and a half, man. So like I sort of introduced this to you right at the beginning. If an episode's 25 minutes long, right? It's a stinker, right? It's an episode that, okay, it's an episode, but nobody really fucking enjoyed it. We tried to get it over with as quick as possible. But man, you've got one of a really long episode with an hour and a half, man. I feel like we've had some really good conversations, man.
Yeah, it's always fun to talk about a shop and just about the space and things. And yeah, no, it was fun.
Definitely, man.
It was fun.
See, I love this way more chilled vibe rather than like constantly going at someone, and that's for me at least. TrashTalk. It's very rare for me to set up a podcast and it's like me going at someone. I much rather like this because I get to learn more about someone, get to learn more about the community and other people's perceptions, and I think it can always just be like a fun, chill conversation.
Yeah. And that's what CamNuggets could have had if he just actually. I will say this though. I do think there is an art to good questioning, which you very much got down with Cam, where it's like not hostile, but you're like, did you go in another call with like after this happened? He's like, yeah, of course I did. Why would I leave the server?
Yeah. Like I think I love that, right? Because he just like he just walked into it, right? And that's like if I do a confrontation thing. With that, I would much rather they walked into it rather than me going, okay, I know you did this, and shouting at them in the terms of like maybe more like that live stream type atmosphere. It's nice to just lay it out there, like ask, like, oh yeah, like what did you do after? Did you do this or whatever? And then they kind of just explain it themselves, right? Walk into it, right? I've done nothing, right? I've just posed like, did you do this? And they've like fucking put themselves in that atmosphere. And that's what I've done with all those type of episodes. Because I think it's way more beneficial for it to come from their mouth than my mouth. Way more beneficial and way more fun and interesting. So yeah, man, I do really appreciate you coming on for an hour and a half of your fucking time, man.
Sorry, my mic like fucking died, so that was good.
Good, bro. I thought you were just like, I'm fucking done, bro.
I'm fucking it's an hour and a half. Fuck you. You had your time. No, it's been a laugh. I've enjoyed it. Yeah. Thank you. I hope it was interesting to somebody. I'm sure down the road there is something in here which somebody will use in a hit piece against me. I can't wait.
Yeah. Especially like when you said you wanted someone to remember you as a pedophile, like that'll be taken out of context. Yeah. Beautiful, dude.
Yeah, no. Listen. There's always here's the key in. There's always a retard out there that you can hand the worst ammunition to, and they will use it against you. And it's all planting seeds. It's all planting seeds.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
Fucking hell.
And thank you everyone for joining this episode of TrashTalk. I've been here with Asylum, and I've been here with Samuel, and I will catch you in the next episode of the TrashTalk podcast.